Okay. Parents, welcome. I see a lot of parents and staff giving me a thumbs up. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, First of all, thank you. Make sure that you can hear me. You are muted right now, just for keeping track and organization of the meeting. So we're going to go ahead and get started that way. Dr. Abernathy, in just a minute, is going to give you some directions on how you can post questions to a specific email address and or a specific avenue for your questions. So let's go ahead and get started. It's 6 p.m. So good evening. On behalf of the Board of Education of Burke County Public Schools and Dr. Putnam, our school superintendent, we welcome you. We're super excited that you have decided to learn more about the new virtual academy for Burke County Public Schools. My name is David Fonseca, and I have the honor of serving each and every one of you as Assistant Superintendent of Schools. My main charge is curriculum, and so that's the reason that I have the honor of talking to you just for a couple of minutes. With me today is Dr. Christy Abernathy, and so if you're on that main screen, you can probably see her waving right about now. So Dr. Abernathy will welcome you in just a minute. She is the coordinator of the Virtual Academy, but she's also the Director of Innovation in the Burke Middle College for Burke County Public Schools. So she has the monumental task of putting all of this stuff together. Also with me today, or with us today, is Dr. Melanie Honeycutt. She is our Technology Director for Burke County Public Schools, and she's waving to you right about now. She has a little background of some kind of stream or river back there. All right, with us today is Dr. Russ Rumbo. He's our Burke County Public Schools Director of Testing and Accountability. He's wearing that purple shirt and he's waving at you right about now. Wave, Dr. Rumbo. Oh, there he is. Okay, all right. Okay, and I think I saw in the audience Mrs. Karen Otten, who is the Director of Elementary Education. She may or may not be on the first screen, but I see her. She's waving at everybody. She was on the second screen. She's now on the first screen waving at everybody. She is the Director of Elementary Education. I don't think that Ms. Simmons, who is the Director of Secondary Education, was able to join us today, but I know that she's waving from wherever she is. So also on the call today, we have teachers, Burke County Public Schools teachers and staff. So all of us collectively welcome you, and we're super excited that, again, you have decided to learn more about the Virtual Academy. So the Virtual Academy was born out of the plans for re-enter and reopening schools across North Carolina. As you may be aware, Governor Cooper, when schools were closed in March of this year, plans began to be developed and explored to make sure that parents had options for whatever, at that time, whatever option of reopening schools we would have in August. As of recently, within the last week, you are now aware that the governor and the legislatures, health department, et cetera, the different folks that coordinate all public schools in the entire state of North Carolina, approved Plan B and also approved Plan C, no higher than Plan B. Plan A would be a reopening of schools with no social distance limitations. Plan B requires a minimum of social distance enhanced, which is at least 6 feet, and that's why the Board of Education approved the A and B days. And parents always also have the option of a virtual academy, which is why we're here, which would be part of Plan C. So that's basically what the origin of the virtual academy. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Abernathy, who is going to guide you through the presentation that you should be seeing on your screen. So without further ado, welcome Dr. Abernathy, and take it away.
Can you hear me? Good evening. We are so excited that you have joined us tonight and taken time out of your busy evening to learn more about the Virtual Academy. We first would like to thank you for your interest in the Burke Virtual Academy. We want to take this opportunity this evening to go over some basic information about our academy. We also want to give parents the opportunity to ask questions, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment and learn more about our academy. We are adding questions daily to our FAQ document that we sent out last week. As you know, the official enrollment form was released last week. We are taking applicants right now. We are developing new content and documents daily and sending those out. We hope this Friday to launch our new website, which will house all of the information that we have sent out so far, along with new updates and new information that we'll continue to add daily. The deadline for enrollment is August 1st. We want to be sure that we allow time for adequate planning for our teachers and our students so that we can have a wonderful start to the school year. If you have questions, Dr. Honeycutt, if we can forward to the next screen. So tonight these are gonna be our bullet points for the meeting tonight. We'll first have just a brief introduction of kind of Dr. Fonseca referenced that Virtual Academy is an option for parents. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Recommendations for student success, just some ideas and things that will make this a very positive experience for your students. Some examples of maybe what virtual learning looks like for elementary. I know tonight we said that we would focus mainly on K-2, so we'll talk probably more about elementary, and then later on in the week we'll talk about secondary. We'll try to cover about the same thing every night though, because I know that you may have children in other grade levels that you're interested in as well. That way you don't have to come back to another meeting later in the week. And then we'll talk about parent support, how you can best support your child from home in a learning environment, some requirements, and then we'll try to answer any questions at the end. So you have two options. You can either use the chat box towards the end to ask any questions that you may have that we may could answer for you possibly tonight. If you have more specific questions you would like to ask, we ask that you email the link that's found there in blue, burkevirtual@burke.k12.nc.us, and then someone will get back with you to try to answer your questions. Dr. Honeycutt, if you'll advance it. So our goal for our Burke Virtual Academy is to have a virtual school of choice in our Burke County school system. Students in grades K through 12 will enjoy a flexible, supported approach to online learning. As students work through daily lessons, their online teachers will provide them with meaningful and timely feedback and instruction remotely. We do want all of our students in the academy to be successful. If you'll continue. Some recommendations that we recommend for students in order for them to be successful in the academy in a virtual setting. Students in second grade and up really should be able to read within a minimum of 2 years of their grade level. Because some of the work is going to be independent and they do need to they should be able to read some. We'll talk a little bit more about how much support you're looking at for elementary versus middle and high here in just a little bit on another slide. But elementary students will need an adult supervision and they will need some academic support from a virtual setting. Elementary will still need someone to be able to help them schedule their time, schedule the time that they work daily. They will need possibly for you to give them some academic support or to help them, get in touch with their teacher or visit the teacher during the contact hours that the teacher has set to ask questions or if they have certain issues with academic support. Middle school students should be able to work a little more independently with minimal adult supervision. By that point in time, they should be able to do some of the independent assignments alone. And then for high school, students should be able to work independently. They shouldn't need adult supervision. The thing with Virtual Academy that, it's not for every child. the child needs to be dependable and able to independently complete a task. And they should have a great knowledge or use of technology, and most students do. From early on, students have a great understanding of technology, a lot more so than adults do sometimes. And then students will need high-speed internet at home. So I've had questions about that, and people have sent me messages about their Wi-Fi and is it acceptable. And if you are able to stream or watch video from your Wi-Fi, then you should be fine. So in the virtual setting, we will utilize what's called a blended learning model. And so some of the week or the assignments that are set for the week will be set up on what we call asynchronous, which means that it could be anything from recorded videos from the teacher. It could be read alouds that the teacher's recorded ahead of time and posted. It could be assignments or projects that they've posted for the week. Synchronous learning environment is when a teacher maybe asks students to join a certain time during the week for a Zoom session. I'm sure some of you experienced in March, some of the teachers had set Zoom sessions to meet with their students. But the Zoom sessions will actually be covering content, new content. And then there's also an option for Google Meet sessions as well. That's a platform very similar to Zoom. So I've had this question multiple times from parents. What's the estimate of time that I can maybe think about of how much time that my student should be in front of a computer or should be working throughout the day? So this is actually taken from our Burke County Public School virtual learning plan that we have. And this is just an estimate. So for K-2, should be anywhere from about 1 to 2 hours of instruction daily. Students in grades 3 through 5 should complete anywhere from about 2 to 3 hours a day. Students in 6 through 12, of course, would complete 3 to 4 hours a day. And it really just depends on the grade level. Of course, kindergarten would be on the low end of that, and second grade would be on the high end. And remember that this time includes instructional delivery, reading, assignments. Also remember that in a virtual learning environment, students can work on a lot of these assignments at their own pace throughout the week because a lot of it will be asynchronous. So I've also had the question, well, what a typical day might look like? So this is just an example. Of course, a lot of that is going to depend on the teacher and the way that the teacher has their room set up, their classroom, their virtual classroom. But one example may be students are they are supposed to read or look at a pre-recorded video. And the teacher then would have an independent assignment for them to complete. And then they may move on to math and have a recorded math lesson there that they watch and then complete an independent activity. And that would be asynchronous learning. And then another example for an instructional day may be that the teacher schedules a live Zoom call or a Zoom session like you're on now, where students join at a designated time and they are taught a lesson by the teacher. And then maybe that would then include a follow-up assignment for them to complete throughout the week. Just remember that students are not expected to be on a device for 6 hours a day straight. We realize that, part of your interest in the virtual academy is its flexibility. And so we want to be sure that we have a blended learning model that reflects that. It is a flexible learning environment, so just keep that in mind when you're thinking about a virtual setting. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover this, even though it is elementary, kind of geared towards elementary, in case you have an older child. So for a secondary day, it may be, again, that example may involve a teacher, may have a pre-recorded instructional video they've posted that allows students to work independently. They may also have maybe a project that they've posted that needs to be completed throughout the week. Another, again, example may be that there's a live session that the teacher has asked And usually those live sessions will be something that is the same time, same day every week, so that it's consistent. Next. So I've also had this question. So as a parent, how can I provide support? So this is a great infographic about just some things to keep in mind as you are providing an adequate learning environment for your child. To select a flexible learning schedule. So again, I mentioned a little bit earlier, it will be important for you as the parent to kind of help your child develop what works for them as far as a schedule of when to work on assignments, when to log on, when to do work. And then also to find a place, a learning space that's positive, that minimizes distractions, that it encourages them to focus, and then it's also, you know, a place that they see as their learning environment. I think that's important, especially when they're learning from home. And also, you know, assist with lessons. You can help them to ensure they're participating and that they're understanding the content that's been shared through them through virtual environment. Encourage them to complete their work. Ask them to see their work and see what ideas or creativity they've used for the week. I think it's really important to have great communication with the teacher. Next. Some important requirements to think about. Testing is still a requirement for all students. Burke County Virtual Academy students are required to take all state-appointed exams, and they do have to take those face-to-face. So they will be at a central location, and they will have to test with other students. Extracurricular activities, I've had this asked a lot. Students are still eligible to participate in extracurricular activities at their school of domicile. If they are enrolled at least half the day or 180 minutes per policy 4160, they're eligible if they meet the athletic requirements, athletic eligibility. Device distribution. So students will, all Burke County public school students will be receiving a device. So you need to receive that from your domicile school. And if you are a homeschool student or out of county, then if you will contact me, we will discuss the needs that you have for a device. Next. So that's a little information about our Burke Virtual Academy. So we want to encourage you, if you have more specific questions, please contact us through the email link that's provided. We will be posting this PowerPoint presentation on the website later in the week for you to scroll back through the notes, and then we'll also make sure that the link is on the website.
So we have several questions in the chat box that we would like to answer if possible. First of all, there was a question, EC students, will they be served in the virtual academy?
So we will provide EC services. Your IEP team at your school will be meeting to decide how to best provide services for your student and what services need to be provided through the virtual learning environment.
Does that also apply to IEP students?
Yes, same thing. EC, all EC students have an IEP, so the IEP team will be involved on helping decide what needs to be provided.
Okay. The time that you discussed, is that the total time, or is that just the content delivery times?
That is an estimate, but it will include total time. You know, it depends on the week too, and it depends on what assignments the teacher has posted. It's really hard to give you an exact amount of time a day because it really depends on the child as well. You know, one child may get it done in an hour, another child it may take 2 hours. So all of those things I think need to be taken into consideration as well.
When the Zoom classes from the teacher are delivered, will they be recorded later be recorded so they can be viewed later?
We will have a way that teachers are able to record that so that, you know, if a student's absent or they're not able to sign in that day, that they are able to watch it at a later time.
Will the Global Immersion program be available in the virtual academy, or is that only for students attending in class sessions? That's the Spanish.
That is something that we'll have to look at. You know, a lot of this, of course, all of this is based on enrollment. So if we will look into see how many students we have in that program that are interested in the virtual academy.
Okay. Can the student attend full time?
Yes.
Okay. When will we know that our child has been accepted?
So if you completed an enrollment form, we will follow up with you in probably a couple weeks. The beginning of August, look for some type of communication from us about what the next steps are on getting them signed up for, or getting them, they're already registered, so you don't have to do anything else. The only thing we'll need to do, of course, is assign them a roster and a teacher. And so we will make closer contact and with more details at the beginning of August.
Okay. The cost of the device, the fee for the learning device is $25 for one student, one device, $35 for 2 students, 2 devices, and 3 students or more with a device each would be $50. Will music be taught?
We are looking, I don't know what grade level you're referring to. We are looking at some possible enrichment for elementary. And then we are still looking for a few some electives for middle school. I'm not sure what grade you're referring to from that question.
Okay. Will students be able to drop the virtual academy and attend school if needed?
Can students drop the
Yes.
virtual academy?
Yes.
So we are asking the students that sign up for the virtual academy to at least commit to a semester, which would end in, well, December, Christmas break, because it's going to be so much easier for the child. It's going to be what's best for the child as far as transitioning back to a classroom.
Okay. Pre-K, are we going to offer pre-K?
Not at this time, no.
Will we receive instruction on programs needed for students with their own personal computers? Most of the programs that you will access will be accessed directly through a web link with ClassLink, so you do not have to have anything particular loaded to your machine. When can you get your device? That will come after acceptance into the academy. We'll set a date aside for that part. Will Burke County Schools have a Zoom meeting for parents that decide to send their children to class sessions? I believe that would be a Dr. Fonseca question.
Yes. Can you unmute him?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to find him. It's telling me he's unmuted. He has to unmute himself.
I think you can unmute yourself now, Dr. Fonseca.
Okay, so now
There
I
you
can unmute myself.
hear
Thank you. Okay,
Mhm.
so, all right, thank you parents for your patience. Let me update you so that if you have friends texting you or emailing you that they were not able to join, we need your help. we anticipated a good turnout, but not as big as the turnout that we have received tonight. So the meeting is being recorded. So if you have folks contacting you that they were not able to get in, we really apologize. Our Zoom capacity is at 100 right now, and so it's full. It was full within a minute. But we are recording this meeting, and we're going to make it available to all schools via our website. And then we're going to have more meetings, of course. So it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have that we have this many parents interested. What was that last question for me that you said that I needed to jump on the call?
So we had a parent wanting to know if there was going to be another meeting for parents that wanted to send their students back to the A-Day, B-Day in schools.
Yeah, so we don't need a meeting for that. It's just your parents are still enrolled right now in their home school. So you're going to receive all the communication for the home school, and it's not going to stop. And in fact, even if you're a full-time virtual academy, you're probably going to still be receiving all the communications from the school system. So that just has not changed. Dr. Abernathy was talking about earlier about if a student can drop the virtual academy, and she mentioned that it is a good idea to make a commitment to the virtual academy. Of course it is, but if we're going to, but we are going to work with our parents and making sure that our students are being successful. So if it is not working, then we can talk about how do we make those transitions, or what do we need to do to make it work. Certainly, we want our students to be successful. There were a lot of questions I was looking. I know Dr. Honeycutt was trying to catch a lot of questions. So let me say again, if we were not able to answer your question, please don't get frustrated. We are, you and us and the entire nation, I think, and probably the entire world, if not 95% of the world, are trying to figure out how to get back to school promptly and safely. So bear with us. We're trying to learn. Burke County Public Schools, I'm so proud of the fact that out of the 116 school systems, we're one of the top 20 school systems in North Carolina. And that doesn't happen by accident. You have a lot of devoted teachers and principals who are working very hard at making it happen. So bear with us. So that's my way of saying, if we were not able to get to your question today, we will answer it. We will go through all of these questions. Dr. Rumbo, our Director of Testing and Accountability, has been, you have seen his name, Russ Rumbo. It says from Russ Rumbo, and it has, he is just peppered all over the texting section, trying to answer the best that he can all your questions. But I know we got to questions about ROTC and athletics and sports and enrollment, et cetera. And we'll get to all of those questions certainly.
There was one other one that was very popular. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, is this a continual program, or will this stop after Plan B and go away?
So yes, we want to continue this program. This is something that we intended to start before COVID-19. So this is something that will be long-term.
Yeah, school closures allowed us the opportunity to really now move and offer this as an option to all of our parents and guardians. Virtual schools are very popular with our parents that have in the past chosen to be homeschool parents. Virtual academies are also very popular with athletes and artists. So if you have students that are fully devoted to a sport or fully devoted to an art or a musical instrument, this is one of the alternatives that that have been offered now for many, many years in public schools. So I'm excited that we have it here in the school system. So we were contacted already by, just to give you an example, the parents of a young lady who is wanting to pursue playing the violin professionally. So very talented already, I believe in the 6th grade now. So this offers that alternative to travel and to practice and to play and perform and still be a part of Burke County Public Schools. We have been contacted by multiple families who have in the past chosen to go the route of homeschooling, and this offers also a good alternative for them. So we're excited about that. We have even been contacted with services for students that live in other school systems. And that's good because they may not have this opportunity. So this is a long-term plan for us. So it's not just because schools are closed. I think that it was just a matter of time before we made the transition to a virtual option. And I want to take the opportunity to remind our parents that taking classes virtually and online has been going on in Burke County Public Schools for many years now. Mainly has been available for middle school and high schools, but we have had that option. So we want to accommodate you. I think at a time where parents have a choice in how they educate their children, we're super excited that you're choosing Burke County Public Schools to partner with us in the education of your children. It sounds like a commercial. It's not. I really mean it. This is a great school system. And again, out of the 116 public school systems in North Carolina, your children attend or will attend one of the top 20 school systems in the state. So that's no accident. There's a lot of people working really hard behind what we're doing. Dr. Honeycutt, do we need any more time for any more questions at this time?
We have one more that's popped
Okay.
up several times.
Okay.
Is the virtual school for a limited amount of students? Okay. So will every student be accepted is what they're asking.
Yes, and I think Dr. Abernathy just mentioned that a little while ago. So
Right.
the numbers for the virtual academy, we expect that are going to fluctuate. I think that we're right now at over 1,000 families that are thinking about enrolling with us. So of course in different grades. So we're excited about that. We're expecting that number to go up or down depending on how families feel comfortable about the education of their children. But we're gonna do our part to make sure that you feel supported. We want your questions and your comments. So I'm gonna just go ahead and call attention to that email address that you see there at the bottom. It's one word, Burke Virtual, and the address is at burke.k12.nc.us. And I'd like for you to send us your comments. If this informational meeting was not good, I want you to let me know and just want you to say, David, this meeting was not good. If we missed some information for you, then please let me know. We want to know. How we get better is when we hear from you. So that's the reason that we are a high functioning school system, because we're not afraid to hear what we're not doing well and what we need to do more of. So please let us know. I want to hear from you. I know Dr. Abernathy wants to hear from you. So again, the address is Burke Virtual, one word. It's posted right now on your slide at burke.k12.nc.us. If you're having trouble communicating with us, give us, of course, at least 24 hours to get back to you, because I know we're going to get hundreds of emails after these meetings. But we'll get back to you and we'll answer those questions. Last question, I think at the end, it says no cost for the virtual academy. No, this is a public school. We're part of Burke County Public Schools, or the virtual academy, I should say, is part of Burke County Public Schools. I'm going to turn it over back to Dr. Abernathy and Dr. Honeycutt to close the meeting. It's been great seeing all of you and hearing from you and listening and reading your questions. Again, on behalf of Dr. Putnam, our superintendent, and our Board of Education who make all of this possible, we thank you. Dr. Abernathy and Dr. Honeycutt.
I would just like to thank you for taking the time tonight to attend our presentation. Feel free to reach out. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please use the email address that we put in the presentation, and we'll try to answer as many of your questions. I know there's some that we probably missed tonight, so I apologize for that. Just feel free to put that question on the email. Thank you and have a good evening.